All right, so the Chiefs-Dolphins game this weekend, I just read a story this morning. It is shaping up to be the coldest game in league history. So a quarterback who played high school in Hawaii, college in the deep South Alabama, and in the NFL in Miami is going to play in the coldest NFL game of all time. And you know how I view Miami. I always viewed him as sort of fast, flashy, a little innovative, a little bit of a fraud, not built for this stuff being December, January. So when you draft a quarterback, there's obviously a lot of things you consider. Size, arm strength, health in college, productivity. Tua, as he's freezing his took off Saturday night, what is he as a quarterback today? So he big, powerful? No. Huge, cannon for an arm? No. Hyper athletic? No. Health? Concern. So it really isn't anything I need. But I also think something that I would consider, and I think about this all the time, is your quarterback built for December and January football? This is what the weather is. My issue with Tua, he is not a lot of things I need. He's not hyper athletic. He doesn't have a big arm. He's not Matt Stafford. He's not a big, powerful guy. And his health worries me. And so because of that, he also can't be expensive. So I couldn't pay him going forward. But it's interesting when you look at Tua, and it's not a small thing. The Hawaiian kid who now plays in Miami, if you look at his record, he is 22-9 in all other months not called December and January. He is a different quarterback in cold weather. And then not just a little drop-off, a significant drop-off. And what's notable about that is Miami is warmer than the rest of the league in December and January. But the road games aren't. So I don't expect Miami to play particularly well. Those numbers to me are another reason. You start talking about Tua. Power, no. Size, no. Arm, no. Athleticism, no. December, January, no. They're not really built for it. So it's another reason I can like the kid and like him at the podium and think he has great intangibles, but I have real questions about, is he built for this? And now, he may go to Kansas City and play his butt off, but it is noticeable, December and January numbers, and I've said this before. You can say, oh, Colin, I mean, those games are harder. Your December games are just, all they are for Miami is New York road, Buffalo road, New England road, cold weather. His numbers come down. So I think this is a really interesting game. Watch Tua against Kansas City. If you're thinking about paying him, these are the games you need greatness. December and January, he hasn't been very good. And again, we knew this. This was a miss until Mike McDaniel showed up. Remember the Brian Flores Tua? It didn't work at all. It was bad. So he's got the right coach and the right platform. I think there's a lot of things about Tua that are admirable, mostly intangibles, but this becoming, it's almost what Miami needs. We need this kind of weather because this is the NFL in December and January. This is what it is.
I think we saw Baltimore and then last week Buffalo choke off the middle of the field against Tua in the second half, and he could not make the throws. So now we're going to ask him to make those throws in freezing weather with some, it looks like there might be some wind as well. It just doesn't set up well for Tua.
Stop. It's not the adversity. It's who the Miami Dolphins really are. Face it, the Miami Dolphins are right now stuck with Tua Tagovailoa, and they're stuck with Mike McDaniel. I'm not saying either of them have to go. What I'm saying is that the fortunes of this team are inextricably tied to Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. So there's two problems as I see it. If the Miami Dolphins truly want to become a championship team, Mike McDaniel has to trust Tua. If you want your quarterback to be elite, you have to treat him as an elite quarterback. You have to ask yourself, why doesn't Mike McDaniel allow Tua to call more audibles? Why doesn't McDaniel allow Tua to run more? If McDaniel doesn't think that Tua is smart enough or astute enough to make an audible call, then he's not an elite quarterback. If McDaniel is concerned that Tua is too fragile to run, then he's not an elite quarterback. On the other side, in regards to McDaniel, the Miami offense has become way too predictable. And many teams across the league now know that for sure. In addition to knowing the Miami Dolphins plays and what they will run, they also know what they won't run. Imagine facing this Miami Dolphins team and you know full well on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line situations, there will never be a quarterback sneak. So ask yourself, why is that? I suggest that a lot of the adversity that the Miami Dolphins face is of their own making. And I'm not talking injuries. Every team has injuries. Miami suffers from having a limited quarterback and a predictable offense. People no longer think of Miami as having an explosive offense.
What's your headline out of Sunday? What's the headline?
Oh man, considering I'm getting ready for the whole show right now, I guess, oh man, I don't know what the headline would be. I guess the Bills getting in the playoffs, man, and the Dolphins being who we thought they were.
What is that? So what is who you thought they were?
Well, Rich, I know that's how this goes. You gotta turn the question on me, but who'd you think the Dolphins were? Who did why are we still doing this where we're like, I don't know what's been up with them lately. It's been 2 years.
Well, I mean, who the Dolphins, what I think they are is a team with an explosive offense that can get you at any point in time. And,
are they?
Well, that's what they have proven on occasion.
No, they haven't. Every time they get in a game like this, they average probably 19 points. That's probably gone down since last night. And, the performance in the second half, I just don't want to hear about the offense anymore there. I know there were guys hurt and that sort of thing, but the Bills spotted them all these games. Josh spotted them all these dumb decisions in the red zone. And I feel for that defense in Miami because they had started to play really well and they lost some guys and it kind of eventually got too much for them. But if they were going to go on a run, they were going to win games 23-17, 20-17. And that's the thing that I cannot figure out how everybody's gotten this wrong. If they were going to make a run, they were going to do it on defense. And they just lost too many guys. And then last night you see it where they're now Waddle and Mostert. Listen, these are legitimate excuses, but it's not like this is a trend breaker. They get in these situations and they lay eggs. And I think Josh, for as imperfect as he is, I can't believe that we have these conversations sometimes about Josh Allen. Look what he's able to do to dig himself out of that hole. I think when you look up at the Bills in the division, they've quietly owned that division over the past 3-4 years. Miami's trying to be where they're trying to be. Not with that team. I don't see how it changes much next year. So then who's the team that can knock off the Ravens best? Is it the Bills? Is it somebody now that we know who's in the tournament? Even Houston? There are two teams that I think can knock the Ravens out. I'm not saying it's likely, but the two teams capable of it are the Browns and the Bills. And for the Dolphins, I mean, it sucks because they're excited. Listen, I know that I've said things about the quarterback that people think, has been hate in the past, but I've just been, as you can see, realistic about the situation. They're a capable, good team if they put it together. And I like the kid under center. You want to see him succeed. I like the head coach. But when you get in these situations and the difference between winning and losing is going to Kansas City or hosting a home playoff game, not to mention the possibility, and I might have butchered this because I was up till 3 a.m. looking at all this stuff last night, but they'd have to visit Cleveland in the offhand chance that they see Cleveland in the second round. If they win that game at Kansas City, they're going to have to go to Cleveland if the situation. So, in no scenario do I feel great about their path, and they had a chance to alter it and just get to maybe they get some of those guys back and they just couldn't do it. And, if you can't take advantage of those turnovers and those gifts, I don't know what to tell you in the special teams thing. It's just disappointing for them.
As for McDaniel, his lack of adjustments and ability to see what's going on during a game are really limiting this team. The good teams seem to throw things at McDaniel during a game that he doesn't adjust to and just seems like he doesn't understand what to do to react to what the defenses are doing against the Miami Dolphins offense. His scheme has become mediocre, especially when you play good teams with top-tier personnel.
Mike McDaniel. Ooh. Yeah. This one's on him. You heard me talk about a lot of the time about being patient, right, with the run game. I still think they can be even more patient with it, even compared to the last week against the Bills, right? Here's the thing. and listen, we've broken down Miami a lot.
Yes.
Okay, we have. And I've discussed that, hey, the good defenses, Kansas City being one of them, knows how to play the Dolphins offense. We saw that. I mean, it was almost a shutout in the first matchup in Germany, right? I mean, the Dolphins got their second TD off of Mahomes fumbling backed up, and that's how they made it 21-14. But Spags does all the things we've talked about, right? Tactical gambles, changing up coverages, understood, getting hands on receivers, not letting Tyreek Hill have free releases all the time, right? Tactical, this is a crazy blitz, but I can't stop everything. Let me take a chance every now and then. Has the defensive line to make the game kind of gritty and physical, which the Dolphins don't like, right? There's all those things. They understood, take away screens, take away the toss sweep, right? And you take care of a lot of things in their offense, then you just worry about the middle throws like we talk about all the time, right? They understand all of that. Where I get into Mike McDaniel is this. I've never seen this, what I'm about to say, so pronounced ever. I can't remember anything in recent history. They need to come up with a game plan purely on 2 deep, 1 deep. 2 deep, 1 deep. Hear me out here a little bit. When teams play 2 deep, they can't throw the ball. They can't. They're like an average throwing team when the teams play 2 deep. And, of course, everybody wants to play 2 deep on them because of the speed they have at receiver, right? Mm-hmm. They become, way below average, right? When teams play single safety, they can throw the ball, but they can't run the ball worth a lick. They're not dominant enough up front to be able to go, they can't be outnumbered at all, right? If there's one extra guy, it's nope, it's not going to work. The play won't work. We're not good enough at it, right? So where I come to it, and I've been saying this about the 2 deep, run the ball, right? Stay patient with it. Don't let these teams continue to play safeties 30 yards deep, and we're still trying to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill, right? Call their bluff. He goes through periods of the game like that and does it. It's got to be the whole game, right? That people have caught on to them. And especially this week, cold weather, Tua's arm is below average for an NFL starting quarterback anyways. What do you think it's going to look like this week up there in that cold air, right? So this is where it's the most pronounced, the 2 touchdown drives that the Dolphins had the other night against Buffalo. I mean, it's literally that, right? 2 deep, ran the ball, successful. 1 deep, throw the ball, successful, right? Throw the ball versus 2 deep, not very good. Run the ball versus 1 deep, not very good, right? They need to be truly a 2 deep, 1 deep football team, package the offensive game plan like that, and Blue 45, send Tyreek Hill in motion, Blue 45, set hut, don't snap the ball, dummy snap count, let the safety show you what they're going to do, all right? Now get to the play, right? All right, coach. Oh, it's 2 deep. We're going to run the ball with what I said in the huddle. Oh, it's 1 deep. Here's the other check to it. We're going to throw the ball. I really believe they have to stay true to that. It's as pronounced as I've ever seen a team that I can remember where I go, I've never seen a team that literally can't throw it against 2 deep, but, runs it well enough. Can't run it versus 1 deep, but can throw it. And I think that's where the game plan has to be, especially this week. See, now what they do a lot of the times too, they need to motion and use the dummy snap counts. They like to motion and say set hut, right? And snap the ball and be and everybody be oh no, the motion's so fast and all this is happening. Teams have figured that out. So I would act hey, we're going, here we go, set hut, and he goes across really fast we're about to run the play, and get the defense to show their hand a little bit.
It's been said by a lot of people with more knowledge than I have. So don't scream at me, I'm not the only one. Dolphins fans don't like to hear it, but it's 100% true. Tua ran up a whole bunch of big numbers against crappy teams. However, he's been mediocre against the good teams. Go look it up yourself. Mike McDaniel has looked so innovative and creative and having such a great play design against crappy teams, but against good teams, again, he looks predictable. I've been saying this for over a year at this point. Stat junkies, they go ahead and they eat up the numbers, but they don't see what other people say. Listen to this breakdown.
The current forecast is calling a game time temperature of -5 degrees. Meteorologists saying it should feel like -12, balmy. Both coaches were asked about the weather this week.
everyone talks about the bad, it's going to be a primetime game at Arrowhead. Like, I just got goosebumps right now, you know? So that's kind of the way we'll approach it. And, you know, regardless, I'll probably have goosebumps in a different way on Saturday. It's erroneous at this point.
I don't really care what goes on out here. You know, we're not having a snowball fight.
Marcus, how would you deal with -12?
Coach, wouldn't go. I wouldn't go. I would tell him, like, I'm hurt. I don't want to play. Them goosebumps gonna freeze on your ass, Mike McDaniels. It's gonna be cold as hell. And listen, the other thing is when Miami is on the road, they not good, and you add these elements, that's a problem. I know we got to get into the game, but y'all, -12 is ridiculous. That's unhealthy. I've been talking about all season, when you disrupt the timing of this offense, who is Tua? And y'all just showed 2 clips where they were misses and miscommunications and him having to get the ball out of his hands. It all starts there with me, and I think it starts there with Steve Spagnuolo as well. Disrupt the timing, and this offense has shown the propensity to have problems, and it's because of their quarterback. I ask myself time and time again, can Tua go above the X's and O's? And no one in the recent history of the playoffs have tested if your quarterback can go beyond the X's and O's more than Steve Spagnuolo. Whether it be pressure, whether it be finding opportunities for Chris Jones, and to you guys' point, how those corners get up and play physical football just to throw timing off. And that is what I'm waiting to see beyond how the hell you play football in -12 degrees.
Hey, speaking of that -12, Miami has lost 10 straight games in sub 40 degree weather, including the playoffs. So they may have to really bundle up for this one.
Can the Miami Dolphins beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Sure they can, but it's going to require Mike McDaniel to make adjustments at halftime and throughout the game. And it's going to require Tua Tagovailoa to play an elite level game. The big problem is that Mike McDaniel thus far has not shown an ability or willingness to change and adjust to what good teams throw at him, especially in the second half. And unfortunately, Tua hasn't been elite in those games either. After one of his recent games, Tua did a presser and he bragged about having receipts. Well, unfortunately for him, there are many more receipts that people are holding on to that prove that he's not an elite quarterback. And people aren't afraid of letting him know that.
I want to know, hey, Tua, you still got those receipts? Because I got mine. I got mine right here, Ocho. I got mine right here.
I knew you were going there.
Ocho, I got my receipts right here. Ocho, I got a lot of receipts. Hold on, Ocho. Yeah. I got all these receipts. Got them all. I kept them all.
Yeah.
I kept them all, Ocho.
Yeah.
I got all these receipts. I'm like CVS. You know, CVS, you go buy one thing, some Q-tips, and you get a thing that come all the way out the door. That's me. I got all these receipts. Hold on. I got some more receipts for. Hey, Tua, you see, all you had to do was just go play. Right. Oh, I keep receipts. They say you're nothing without Tyreek. You're nothing without this. Okay, you had the game on your home field. All you had to do was win. I want to know you got to receive. I want to hear what he got to say.
So at this point, I'm over the cutesy Mike McDaniel press conferences. I don't care what was shown on Hard Knocks. Haven't watched a single episode. I don't care about Tua's stats. I don't care about a popularity contest getting him into the Pro Bowl. At this point, all I care about is, can this team win a championship? This weekend, the Miami Dolphins can take a big step towards that. Or, if they lose, they can underscore what a lot of people feel, that this team is a fraud. Mike McDaniel always says that adversity is opportunity. Well, Mike, your opportunity awaits you in Kansas City. What are you going to do to capitalize and seize on that opportunity? Don't forget, if you want to watch the game with me, go ahead and click right here to be notified when I go live with the pregame show on Saturday at 7:15. Talk to you soon.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?